Hey everybody, this is Sherry with CPR, Craft, Pray, Repeat, and I'm here today with a Cottage Cutz die called Santa Napping, and this is going to be a video of how I assembled him. Now, there are going to be, I will have another video showing how I color him up and put all of the colors in, but he's a bit intricate, and if you're anything like me, you're a visual learner, so I thought maybe this might help somebody else put him together. So there is a set of instructions that come with him, but it doesn't show on the front picture that there's a piece of white across the front of his hat. And so the first time I cut it out, I thought, oh, that's an odd looking belt. And so I cut it and colored it black and then realized I had it wrong. And so if you need to, you can always slow this down or, pause it so that you can see where things need to go. And I figured out that the best way to figure out which direction and how his boots needed to lay is actually to put together the footrest first and then sit that underneath of him. And there's little marks on the footrest that will show you exactly where his feet need to go. So the best thing would be, in my opinion, is to put Santa together all but his boots and put his head on and everything so you can see how he's laying in the chair. And if you look, it would be his left hand on the right side of the image there, our right. His hand kind of cups over the end of the chair. So that gives you an indication of exactly where, Santa is supposed to go in the chair. So there are certain little cues. See, now I'm like, okay, how did I do this right? And I was pretty close, so I was happy. I could just adjust him a little bit in the chair and make it fit perfect. But it would have been easier had I, put him together and then put the stool together and then said, okay, this is where his shoes need to go, his boots need to go. So when you're doing that, just keep that in mind. And then the rest of him pretty much just layers up exactly like you would think. And this is actually the fur around the collar of his jacket, and it pretty much goes from one side of the piece to the other. Now here is a mistake I made, and I want to point it out so nobody else makes it. There are two eyebrows. Okay, well, my brain said, oh, two eyebrows, they're the same. No, they're not the same. That's what I love about Cottage Cutz dies, is there's so much detail, but you have to pay attention. One eyebrow is larger than the other eyebrow. So the larger eyebrow would go on Santa's right or our left. And then the smaller one would go on the other side because that side is farther away from us. And so I just wanted to share, not only the things I learned, but also the boo-boos I made so that, nobody else makes them. And because her dies are incredible, and they're not like any other dies on the market, because you don't find dies on the market with this kind of detail put into them. And so we just have to take a little bit of time and pay a little bit more attention, and we will end up with something that is absolutely amazing. I don't know that I've ever been happier with a card that I made than I am with this card that I used this Santa on. As a matter of fact, I told my mom that if I gave it to her for Christmas, that I expected it to be framed and matted the next time I came home. Because it was like, I worked hard on this, Mom, and I said, and it's like art. I expect it to be framed and matted. Mom's like, okay, it must be really good. I'm like, it is. And so you just put his little head on there. And again, the picture shows a little bit more space above his head. So, like I said, put him together first and then lay him in the chair. Then you can put his boots on, and then you can figure out, before you attach him down, you can figure out where, if you need to drop him down a little bit. But I found that it worked just fine the way that I put it. So, I mean, you guys do it however you think it looks best for you. And I was very excited that I was asked by the Cottage Cutz team to add this to their blog for the month of November. So that's when you'll be seeing this. But if you would like to see the entire card and how it was colored, because I Copic colored all of the pieces, and how I put the entire card together, because this actually ends up being the inside of my card. I have wanted to do a card like this forever, and was so tickled when I realized that I could make the kind of card I wanted, because she gave me everything I needed. I wanted to be able to look like I'm looking at, see the outside of the house, looking into the inside of the house, where there's a scene in the front and on the inside, and that's what I was able to do with these dies. And the Santa napping die is this one, and then I also used her window die, and then the window friends, window Christmas friends, and the window with shutters die are the other ones that I will have used on this card. And so I hope that you guys like this, and it helps make it a little easier for you. I mean, she even gives us the milk for the inside of the glass, and we decided that our cookies had to be chocolate chip. My kids said Santa always gets chocolate chip, so we just took a black marker and put dots on it and made our cookies chocolate chip. Alright guys, I hope that you like this video, and I hope that you find it helpful to you when you're putting Santa napping together. I appreciate you coming and visiting me today. Remember to practice your CPR, craft, pray, repeat. Bye.